Was the Las Vegas shooting a jihad attack after all? Why did Stephen Paddock's live-in girlfriend have 2 Social Security numbers and 2 husbands? A Michigan woman has been arrested for refusing to vaccinate her 9-year-old son. Surveys show that the American people are delighted with the economy and disgusted with the NFL. And, don't tell the kids, but archaeologists in Turkey believe they've discovered the tomb of Santa Claus. My name is Howard Riell, and this is Riell Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, and the book Riell Truth, Stay Angry. And of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM, The Lion. Our call-in number, 877-254-7524. My friends, welcome back. Item from InfoWars. During a live press conference, Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo revealed that the Las Vegas gunman Stephen Paddock may have been radicalized and that authorities were attempting to uncover the source of his radicalization. Did this person get radicalized unbeknownst to us? And we want to identify that source, said Lombardo. If confirmed, this suggests there may have been a political motive behind the massacre. My friends, let's throw some fuel on the fire also from InfoWars. Members of Antifa are illegally crossing the Syrian border to receive military training from Kurdish militias as part of a dark triad between Antifa, anarcho-communist Kurds, and Kurdish members of ISIS. The U.S.-backed Kurdish People's Protection Units has anarcho-communist politics, which has attracted American and European Antifa to fight alongside them in what they refer to as the Rojava Revolution. Security agencies are concerned that these Antifa members will become the revolution at home once they return. Already, FBI sources have revealed Antifa literature and photos taken in the Middle East, which were found in the hotel room of suspected Las Vegas shooter Stephen Paddock. Unquote. My friends, as Shakespeare said, curiouser and curiouser. The first thought that you and I had when we heard about the shootings in Las Vegas was jihad. Well, no, it wasn't jihad. It was some 64-year-old white guy with a chip on his shoulder. But wait. I told you right off the bat, it smelled like jihad. And sure enough, little by little, inch by inch, step by step, the authorities are getting to where I was on Monday. We'll explore it a little more today, my friends. It's Wednesday. It's Riell Truth. I'll be right back.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution.
American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abductor. Please make every effort to keep track of your little ones at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228. Piccolo's Restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's Restaurant in Denver. It's not only the best Italian and Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166. Piccolo.
All right, guys, we are back. housekeeping note, we're off the air tomorrow. We'll be back on Monday. Let's hit the news and let's hit it hard. Item from Newsweek. Mary Lou Danley, the live-in girlfriend of Las Vegas gunman Stephen Paddock, and now a person of interest in the shooting investigation, is a Philippines native who has used 2 social security numbers during her 2+ decades in the United States and was married to 2 men at the same time. Public records show. The person who may hold the key to solving the mystery of why the Vegas gunman killed 59 and wounded nearly 600 people led a convoluted life of her own with 2 simultaneous husbands, a bankruptcy, 2 social security numbers, multiple addresses in several states, and even different ages depending on which state records you review, unquote. My friends, I smell smoke. And you know what you find where there's smoke? Let's continue. From InfoWars, an image posted on Facebook by a man who claims he served Stephen Paddock room service says the gunman was with a guest during his time at the Mandalay Bay Hotel 4 days before the massacre took place. The receipt shows an employee named Antonio served 2 guests an IRDMB, which means in-room dining Mandalay Bay. The table number is 32135, which equates to Paddock's room number, 135, on the 32nd floor. Paddock ordered a hamburger, a bagel with cream cheese, a potato soup, 1 bottle of water, and 2 Pepsis, suggesting there was another person eating with him in the room. The receipt shows the number 2 next to the word guests, unquote. So, my friends, what do we make of this? Well, that's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. We've got to make something of it because the jigsaw puzzles just don't fit together. There's much more here than meets the eye. There's a connection to the Middle East. There's a connection to the Philippines, which we know is a hotbed of Islamic jihad. We've got mysterious people going and coming in mysterious ways with odd social security numbers, odd relationships. The whole thing stinks. I don't think we've even gotten down to the middle of this enchilada. Something's going to turn up, and when it does, you can bet it's going to have the unmistakable fingerprint of Islamic jihad on it. You wait and see if I'm right. Item from CBS Local, Dayline, Pontiac, Michigan. An Oakland County woman has been sentenced to 7 days in jail after refusing to comply with an order to vaccinate her 9-year-old son. The order was handed down in Oakland County Circuit Court on Wednesday, at which time Judge Karen McDonald also announced the boy would be vaccinated today. Stop! Can you spell government overreach? Where the hell in the Constitution does it say the government tells you what you have to inject into your children's bodies? And if you don't do it, you'll be arrested. And once you're in jail, the government will do it. What kind of crap are we witnessing here in the United States? This is the kind of thing that would have happened in Germany in the 30s and 40s, in the Soviet Union. And now it's here? Unacceptable. I want to hear what Judge Karen McDonald has to say when someone confronts her with the fact that the government is not God. This is an outrage. I am confident it will be overturned in court. What will not be overturned is the vaccine that was pumped into her 9-year-old son. Item from CNBC.com. The public's views on the economy continue to cruise at lofty levels, but the optimism does not appear to be lifting the president's approval rating. The third quarter CNBC All-America Economic Survey found 43% of the public believes the economy is excellent or good, a record high in the 10-year history of the survey. 36% believe the economy will get better, down a couple of points from the last quarter, but just 23% say it will get worse, down 6 points. The 4-quarter average for every major economic metric in the poll, the outlook for the economy, housing, wages, and the stock market, is the record 10-year high. Those 4 quarters cover the time span since President Donald Trump's election. Unquote. My friends, join with me all together now. Thank you, President Trump. Item from the Telegraph. Archaeologists in Turkey have made a discovery which could settle a centuries-old debate and disappoint millions of children around the world. They have unearthed what they say is likely the tomb of the original Santa Claus, or St. Nicholas, beneath an ancient church in Demre, southern Turkey, unquote. Now, to all the children in the audience, first of all, your parents shouldn't be letting you listen to the show. That's number one. But number two, don't worry about this. There really is a Santa Claus. And Hillary Clinton really would make a fine president. Item from InfoWars: carrying acid in public without, quote, good reason will be outlawed and sales to under 18s banned following a series of horrific attacks in England. Stop, my friends, the mind boggles. What would be a good reason for walking around the street with acid in your pocket? Because in England, you've got to have a good reason. The piece continues. Home Secretary Amber Rudd announced the crackdown as she also vowed to cut the number of knife attacks by preventing children to buy knives online. Stop. Of course, Amber. Of course, it makes perfect sense. Because we know there are children out there knifing people on the streets of England, right? And there are Methodists, Baptists, Presbyterians, and Jews throwing acid in people's face. Right, Miss Rudd? As restricted as the media is in this country, and as left-leaning as the media is in this country, it is nothing compared to the laws on the books in Europe, and especially England, where free speech is basically non-existent, and Big Brother rules. I'm looking at this article. I don't see anything here indicating that Islam is involved at all with knifings and throwing of acid. And yet, my friends, you're not stupid. Hopefully, I'm not stupid. We read the headlines going back years. Muslims throwing acid at people they don't approve of. Muslims stabbing people at bus stops and what have you. Call a spade a spade. If there's danger, identify it, because that's the only way we can protect ourselves. As long as the media plays see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, we are victims waiting to happen. It's an outrage. And it's an ever-present danger to you and those you love. And so, as I tell you on this show multiple times, get angry. Stay angry. Get active. Get loud. Call your politicians. Call the media. Call them out on what they're doing. If they're endangering you and our families, then they have no right asking for our support or our money. We'll take a break and we'll be back, my friends. Riell Truth does what it always does. It marches on. Stick around.
Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom-tailored capabilities of modest emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full-service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com.
The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the people of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation. God is the Lord. The people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 through 12.
Behold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America's News Network.
My friends, we are back and we're pulling no punches. Howard Riell, Riell Truth, the call-in number 877-254-7524. Let's continue. Item from CBC News. A man accused of stabbing an Edmonton, Canada police constable over the weekend and running down 4 pedestrians on Jasper Avenue has not been charged with terrorism-related offensive. Abdul Hassan Sharif, 30, has been charged with 5 counts of attempted murder, 4 counts of criminal flight causing bodily harm, and 1 count each of dangerous driving and possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose, RCMP announced at the news conference at Edmonton Police Headquarters on Monday, unquote. My friends, please don't get the impression that this is a jihad attack. I mean, yeah, there was a stabbing involved, and yeah, he drove over pedestrians, and yeah, okay, his name is Abdul Hassan Sharif. But don't go thinking this is jihad, okay? Please! You don't want to insult the Edmonton police. Item. From the Independent, concert goers were told, you're all going to blanking die less than an hour before the Las Vegas shooting started, it has been claimed. A woman in the crowd is said to have yelled the warning about 45 minutes before the Route 91 Harvest Festival became the venue for the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. After her outburst, it was claimed the woman and her male companion were made to leave the venue by security. Less than an hour later, an attack began that left at least 59 people dead. Witness Brianna Hendricks said the woman had been behaving strangely before her outburst. Ms. Hendricks, who'd been in Vegas to celebrate her 21st birthday, told the Mail Online, quote, there was a lady who came running up behind us in the concert, and she started playing with people's hair, acting crazy, and she told us we're all going to blanking die. She said they're all around us, and we were going to die, unquote. Ms. Hendricks said the woman had claimed her boyfriend could not breathe in order to push her away through the crowd to the front row. She said, quote, it seems she was telling us to either warn us or she was part of it, and she was telling us because she knew we were going to die. It was so scary. It felt like she had knowledge of what was about to happen, unquote. The pieces don't add up on Stephen Haddock. He's got a girlfriend traveling to the Philippines, traveling to the Middle East, 2 social security numbers, 2 husbands, other mysterious elements. Now here's someone claiming before the shooting that people were going to die. My friends, I call this show Real Truth because truth is what we need today. Even before the avalanche of fake news, we were in dire need of truth. Real truth. And we've got to get some real truth and some clarity on this situation. Now, I remember about a year and a half ago or so, a woman traveling on the Las Vegas Strip drove up onto the sidewalk, ran some people over, and screamed, Allahu Akbar. If you didn't read about that last part, that's because it wasn't reported. It was muted in Las Vegas. The police put a lid on it. Never heard a word about it since. Not about the screaming Allahu Akbar, not even about the woman. The first word out of authorities' mouths when an attack happens is, it wasn't jihad. Wasn't terrorism. We don't know what it was, but we know it wasn't terrorism. Because the authorities lie to us. Maybe they think they're lying to us for our own good. Maybe they're just lying to make their own lives easier. Doesn't matter. A lie is the enemy of the people. So we want truth. We want transparency. We want to know how to protect ourselves. And we want to know that our government officials are interested in protecting us. You say that they are? I say only as much as benefits them. Item from Breitbart. Pope Francis flew to Bologna, Italy Sunday and met with a large group of migrants and refugees, calling them, quote, warriors of hope, while insisting that nations open broader avenues for immigration. During a full day in Bologna, Francis spent an hour meeting hundreds of migrants personally while posing with them for selfies under light drizzle. Later, the pontiff hosted a luncheon for asylum seekers and prisoners in the St. Petronius Basilica. He even donned a yellow plastic ID bracelet used by asylum seekers to express his solidarity with them. Do you know what you are? "You're warriors of hope," Francis exclaimed during his address to the many migrants present, urging them not to give in to disappointment or despair. In his address, the Pope also offered his explanation of why he believes some people in Europe oppose mass migration, building on earlier statements in which he suggested xenophobia was fueling people's concerns. Quote, "Many do not know you and they're afraid," he said. "This makes them feel entitled to judge harshly and coldly while thinking they see well. But this is not true. We see only well with the proximity that comes from mercy. Without this, the other remains a stranger, even an enemy, and cannot become my neighbor." Unquote. So, my friends, what I'm expecting now is to see a news item that says Pope Francis has done away with his armed security detail. Also, that the Vatican has taken down the wall that surrounds it. Once the armed security is gone, once the wall is gone, then, Pope Francis, I invite your comments about the blessings of migrants from the Third World. But until then, Your Holiness, I invite you to shut up and stop making policy. Unadulterated migration from the Third World into Europe has spelled basically the end of Europe. In a matter of decades, Europe will be finished. Buried under a flood of Third World people who don't have educations, don't want to immigrate, don't want to assimilate, don't want to be Europeans. They want to be what they are, hardcore Muslims, carving out pieces of the countries they arrive in and taking them over. In very much the same way that cancer metastasizes through the body. So, Your Holiness, stick to religion. Find out what's going on with altar boys in your organization. Talk to some of those pedophile priests. That you can do. When it comes to telling me that other people have a right to enter my country, you are blowing smoke. And I don't mean the white smoke that goes up the chimney to announce a new pope. Item from the Associated Press, Dateline, St. Louis. Police say 143 people were arrested following a protest that shut down a busy highway near downtown St. Louis. The department on Wednesday did not say what charges those arrested during the protest will face, but a spokeswoman for the Circuit Attorney's Office says they likely will face charges in municipal court. Protesters gathered Tuesday and marched to Interstate 64, where 7 of them walked onto the roadway and blocked traffic for several minutes. Police arrested protesters after they left the highway. Demonstrators have been protesting since mid-September over the acquittal of a white former police officer, Jason Stockley, in the 2011 killing of a black drug suspect, Anthony Lamar Smith. Unquote. My friends, let's settle this issue right now. No. Hold on. Let's talk about this issue. Let's talk about the issue of protesters blocking highways. Now, the Associated Press has not an idea, no clue about what these people might be charged with. Well, charging them with blocking a highway might be a good start. People cannot be allowed to do things like this. It tugs at the fabric of the society. It increases lawlessness. By the way, someone's going to get run over sooner or later. People already have. And then the poor schnook who runs them over is looking at jail time. There are some things that simply cannot be tolerated. Lawlessness in the streets, masquerading as social justice, is one of those. Item from Breitbart. London UKIP Parliament member Gerard Batten has gone on the offensive after a week's ban from microblogging site Twitter for calling Islam a, quote, death cult, doubling down on his original remarks. An outspoken critic of radical Islam, Batten was banned on the 26th by Twitter after he wrote about Muslims being the greatest threat to other Muslims because of a long history of internecine sectarian violence. The tweet for which he was banned was in response to another Twitter user and read, quote, Muslims kill each other for being the wrong kind of Muslim more than they kill infidels. It's a death cult, unquote. My friends, I don't wonder that Gerard Batten's comments have gotten him banned in England, because they were true. And we all know in 2017, you're not allowed to speak the truth. You're not allowed to speak a politically incorrect truth. Well, folks, I don't know how many millions of listeners I have in England, but they're not going to silence me or you. The only ones who can do that are our elected officials, who seem intent on aping the politicians in Europe increasingly. This is political correctness run wild, run rancid. This is government endangering the lives of the people it purports to serve. This is government as adversary. Now, they're not lucky enough to have a constitution in England, but we've got one here as of today, last I read. And now that Barack Obama's out of the White House, we have a chance of salvaging it. Good. Let's pay attention to it. Let's teach it to our children and students in schools. Free speech is a sacred thing, my friends. Don't give it up without a fight. And if you're going to fight, win. Take a lesson from our friends in England, who've got their heads so far up their asses they are basically giving their continent away. Item from Breitbart. During the opening monologue on Monday's Jimmy Kimmel Live, host Jimmy Kimmel cried over the Las Vegas attack, pushed for more gun control, badmouthed Republicans, but did not say a word about the number of innocents gunned down in Chicago every month. Kimmel rightly lamented the 59 innocent who were dead as a result of the Las Vegas attack, but there was not a peep about the nearly 59 people each month on average that have been killed year to date in Chicago in 2017. The Chicago Tribune reports that the current death toll for Chicago in 2017 sits at 527. Stop! My friends, of course Jimmy Kimmel is a Hollywood dimwit. Of course I know that. I won't beleaguer you by stating the obvious. It's almost as obvious why Jimmy Kimmel won't talk about people getting gunned down every weekend in Chicago. I can tell you why. It's a no-brainer. Because the people in Las Vegas who got shot were white. The gunman was white. And so, have at it, Jimmy. But Chicago's a delicate case. Got to tread lightly about Chicago, because the people doing the shooting are black, by and large. And if you say that, well, in the court of public opinion, you're a racist. And if you're labeled a racist, your ratings drop, your money drops, your fame drops, suddenly you're a pariah, and so the truth, once again, will not be heard. My friend, when do we become so afraid of the truth? We know truth is no defense against something like slander, but no one's being slandered here. To say that Chicago, which, by the way, I'll throw this in just as an aside, has been a Democrat Party stronghold for decades and decades. Democrats who pander to African Americans and tell them only we are your salvation. Those Democrats who have run cities like Chicago and Detroit and St. Louis and others, New Orleans, into the ground and caused untold misery for generations to African Americans. Yeah, those Democrats, like Jimmy Kimmel, are up on their high horse inveighing against Republicans. It is an outrage, crime against humanity, that Rahm Emanuel, former lackey of Barack Obama, lifelong Democrat, has been presiding over Chicago for the last several years, and as far as I know, he hasn't done a single thing effectively to stop the slaughter. And I will wager you that the majority of the good people in Chicago will go on blissfully unaware, voting Democrat, and only fueling the future slaughter. We'll take a break and we'll be back, my friends. Go nowhere.
If you're taking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Men, women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioAge.com. Spelled BIOAGE.com. BioAge.com. Or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. BioAge, the age of advanced organics.
Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom-tailored capabilities as modest as emergency lighting all the way to commercial-scale power. Great Plains Power is a full-service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom-designed system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
My friends, I told you I'd be back. Did you think I wouldn't? We continue. Howard Riell, Riell Truth, 877-254-7524. Item from the Sacramento Bee. France and the United Kingdom are doing it. So's India. And now one lawmaker would like California to follow their lead in phasing out gasoline and diesel-powered vehicles. When the legislature returns in January, Assemblyman Phil Ting plans to introduce a bill that would ban the sale of new cars fueled by internal combustion engines after 2040. The San Francisco Democrat said it's essential to get California drivers into an electric fleet if the state is going to meet its greenhouse gas reduction targets, since the transportation sector accounts for more than a third of all emissions. The market is moving this way. The entire world is moving this way, Ting said. At some point, you need to set a goal and put a line in the sand, unquote. Mr. Ting, we have. We've put a line in the sand. We've watched California exude craziness for decades. And we've reached the line in the sand, and so we're saying this. There are those in California who are talking loudly about seceding from the United States. Well, that would have been a crazy idea at one time. But now I am hoping and praying that California, the dingbats who live there, who voted for Governor Moonbeam, I'm hoping that they do indeed and in fact secede. Let them be an insane country unto themselves. By the way, let them take New York with them. Item from USA Today. A woman suspected of leaking U.S. secrets to a news organization claimed she stuffed a classified report into her pantyhose and walked out of a national security agency office in Georgia, mainly because she hates America, quote, like 3 times a day, unquote. Reality Winner, 25, told FBI agents she was disappointed in her job as a government contractor, court records show. Quote, yeah, I screwed up royally, Winner told the agents in a transcript that makes public the details of her confession, which prosecutors have alluded to in prior court hearings. Prosecutors are asking a federal judge to keep the former Air Force translator jailed until her trial. In a court filing Wednesday, prosecutors attached the 77-page transcript of Winner's interview with FBI agents before her arrest in June. Unquote. My friends, was anyone ever less appropriately named than Reality Winner? It doesn't strike me that she's very much in touch with reality, and she's certainly no winner. Stuffed classified documents into her pantyhose. She hates America 3 times a day. Okay. There's no law that says you have to love America. There is, however, a law that says you can't stuff classified information in your pantyhose. I don't know if it specifies pantyhose, but you can't take classified information and release it to the press. And so, reality, here's a dose of reality. You're going to jail, sweetie. Hopefully for a long time. And by the way, let's be creative. When you get out of jail, I'm hoping that the authorities will transport your sorry and apparently saggy backside to some other country, which you don't hate 3 times a day. Item from WKBN, Warren, Ohio. Police in Warren say a teenage boy admitted to having sex with a dog again. Police said a family member found the 17-year-old boy naked in bed with a dog at a home on Homewood Avenue. They reported it to the Trumbull County Children's Services. The teen spends half his time with Children's Services, the other half with his family. It's been almost exactly a year to the day since the then 16-year-old was charged with animal cruelty for having sexual contact with the dog. Those acts happened before Warren's bestiality law took effect. Now he's facing 2 misdemeanor counts of bestiality and animal cruelty charges after police said he admitted to doing it again, unquote. You know, my friends, I share your grief and I share your despair. And I look at the human condition and I think to myself, what the hell? I've been on this show for over 9 years, headed towards a decade, doing my best to fight for our civil rights, for our freedoms, which are impinged every day. Then we find people in the sack with mutts, blocking highways, chanting for police to be killed. And I'm wondering, why am I doing this? Do we deserve to be treated with the deference and the respect and the freedom that the Constitution guarantees us? Well, I still believe we do, but I'm starting to waver. Where are this kid's parents? Where, if this kid stood out as a wacko, I would feel so much better. But I go through the news every day, and every day I find people doing things just as sick as this. It's a complex equation, but here's part of it. And I've talked about this at length before. We live in a sex-drenched society. Movies, TV, music, video games, advertisements of all kind, drenched in sex. I remember when I was a kid, someone put up a sign in school. It said, sex. Under it, it said, now that I've got your attention. Because sex gets people's attention. And in order to sell, you've got to get people's attention. And America is all about selling. Well, there's nothing wrong with selling. And I love capitalism. But you've got to have some moderation too. Well, we don't. Everything these days is built on a platform of sex. And I'm telling you, it's toxic. Don't believe me? Go out to one of your local schools and see 11, 12-year-old girls dressed like sluts. It's shocking and it makes me fear for the future. Item. From the Daily Caller, the founder of a feminist business school hopes to help women fight the, quote, toxic masculinity of capitalism by exploring the concept of a, quote, feminine economy. Through reading, journaling, and writing, we work on unraveling our internalized sexism, said Jennifer Armbrust to Forbes in an interview that was published last Thursday. We address questions like, what's our internal relationship with money and power? What is empathy in business? How do you build business structures that honor intuition and make room for rest? For me, this work is a site of deep integration, she continued. I'm pulling from so many different sources, especially my body and my own journey, unquote. The school's ideals, quote, have been beautifully articulated by the second wave of black feminists, Armbrust said, adding she wants to build and grow those ideals. She said her inspiration for a feminine economy grew out of her thinking that capitalism rewards masculine behavior and traits and wanting to consider what a system that rewarded feminine traits would look like, unquote. My friends, it might surprise you to find I am all for an economic system that rewards feminine traits. When you locate the planet on which it's located, I'd like you to tell me. And then I'd appreciate it if you would provide transportation, because here on Earth, ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. We'll take a break. We'll continue. Go nowhere, my friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Earth.
Well, it had to happen. When Colorado legalized marijuana, most people thought the Green Herb was a marijuana dispensary. Also, it was legalized on January the 1st, 2014, the same day we opened our new location at 4565 Kipling Street, 1.5 blocks south of I-70. There are 83,000 cars a day passing in front of our new location on Kipling Street, and most of them thought we were a marijuana dispensary. So we changed the name of our retail store to New Genesis Health, but we kept the name of our Green Herb Supplements. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name, New Genesis Health, or call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372. And be sure to listen to the Healthy Nature Show with Linda Phillips every Tuesday at 1 p.m.
Now this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
The associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter in Lafayette remind us, no one anywhere is more noble, righteous, selfless, or courageous than our United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women and their families foot the bill for our freedom every day. Send a military care package today to let them know that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This message is from the associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 287 in Lafayette. They're on the air because they care.
And we are back. Howard Riell. The show is called Riell Truth. All right, then. Item from Breitbart. The NFL allowed players to use the league's national stage to disgrace the flag and the anthem. The NFL also chose to take the players' side against the leader of the free world when he rightfully called those players out. As a result, it appears the league may have done irreparable harm to its brand. The ratings for Monday Night Football on ESPN tanked hard in Week 4. According to Yahoo Entertainment, quote, coming off last week's Dallas Cowboys 28-17 win over the Arizona Cardinals, where the ratings actually went up for Monday Night Football, last night's game was not a victory for the Disney-owned cable giant nor the NFL in the early numbers. Against the packed Big Four primetime Monday Night Football snared an 8.4 in metered market numbers. That's down 10% from the Cowboys and Cardinals game of September 25th. Year to year, the Chiefs' fourth straight win this season dipped 8% in the early numbers from the comparable Minnesota Vikings 24-10 win over the New York Giants on October 3rd, 2016. A season of sliding ratings that the NFL wants to forget but may repeat. Unquote. My friends, awful lot of people are learning how to forget the NFL. They're tuning out. They're not buying merchandise. They're disgusted. I've talked about this a lot in the last couple of weeks. I don't need to say anything more about it. Tune in Monday to see how the ratings in the NFL continue to tank and to see whether or not anyone in the front office, starting with Roger Goodell, the commissioner, whether anyone has more than a spoonful of brains and can realize the league has shot itself in the foot and it needs to apologize. Yes, apologize to Americans. Item. Barry C. Lynn, former senior fellow at the New American Foundation, who was fired after criticizing Google, claimed this week democracy could be threatened by technology monopolies. Quote, I think people are understanding just how poorly structured the institutions are, how sloppily they were built, proclaimed Lynn in an interview with The Hill. It's not just a matter of the fact that these people have too much power, it's also that they are sloppy in the use of their power. Perhaps the most pressing thing of all is that Google, Facebook, and to certain degrees also Amazon have captured the flow of information and ideas between citizen and citizen, he continued. Our ability to communicate freely with one another in this country, which is the primary basis for being able to protect our democracy, is now threatened in a very real way today. This is not a rhetorical threat. This is a threat that exists today. Unquote, my friends. He's absolutely right. Our freedoms are threatened on many levels, in many quarters. Google, Amazon, Facebook, yes. They hold so much of our free speech in the palms of their hands these days. And as we say back in Brooklyn, it's nicht gut, not good. Item from InfoWars. Leftists wasted no time in politicizing the mass shooting in Las Vegas on Monday, immediately clamoring for officials to label terrorism and calling for increased gun control, despite the only known fact about the shooters that used weapons that were already legal. Unquote. My friends, item from Breitbart. This is from Pamela Geller, who's got a new book out called Fatwa, Hunted in America. Pamela Geller writes the following. Longtime readers and supporters know I've spoken little of the impact this fight has had on my life and the personal toll exacted by jihadists. I thought it was time to tell my story, the story of how a New York City newspaper executive went from being an apolitical career girl to one of the most notorious anti-jihadists in the world. It was revealed for the first time this week that an FBI informant was involved in the jihad plot by 3 Boston-based jihadis to behead me. It's all part of living under a fatwa, hunted in America. Few Americans know how dangerous it is to fight in defense of freedom in America. And I don't mean just physical danger. Anyone who stands for freedom today is subjected to unimaginable abuse. My critics have called me the most dangerous woman in America, far-right hate queen, and the anti-Muslim movement's most visible and flamboyant figurehead. Now, in Fatwa, Hunted in America, I tell my own story of my work to defend freedom of speech, individual rights, and equality of rights for all. I go back to how I began chronicling my take on news events at my groundbreaking website, Geller Report, previously Atlas Shrugs, then moved into activism. At first on behalf of Muslim girls who were being brutalized and victimized at home for not following the misogynistic rules of Islamic law, then to stand against the advance of jihad and Sharia on numerous fronts, and above all, for freedom of speech, which is increasingly embattled in this age of jihad. Any lover of freedom would have been tarred the same way I was, and many have been. I am but a proxy in this terrible long war. What has happened to me is what happens in small and large ways to every American who fights for freedom. Geert Wilders contributed the book's foreword. Unquote, my friends. I don't get a penny for publicizing this book, for promoting it, but I will tell you I plan on reading it. If I can get Pam Geller on the show, so much the better. But it's time once again to take a look at ourselves in the mirror. America to take a look at itself. When people step forward and tell the truth, many times they are attacked, lambasted, slandered, sometimes ruined. It's not what America was supposed to be. America was supposed to be a place where truth won out, where you could speak truth to power. In fact, I'm fairly certain, though I went to public school in New York, that that's how this country came into existence, by speaking truth to power. King George. Pam Geller is a hero. Instead of hearing her slandered and insulted at every turn, I'd like to see her hailed for her devotion to truth and her courage. Not courage for herself, but for you and me and our children and our nation and Western society. If this show does nothing, I'm hoping it lights a fire under you to stand up for people who speak the truth, to speak truth yourselves, and to advance the cause of liberty. Because, my friends, without it, this is not a solar system we're going to want to live in. Trust me on that. All right, we're about to hit a hard break. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up here on Riell Truth. Remember, we're off tomorrow. I'll be returning on Monday. Also, don't forget, I got a book called Riell Truth Stay Angry. If you get it lonely for me during these next several days, pick up a copy of the book, read it. You'll love it. It'll be almost as if you hear my voice whispering in your ears. Well, I hope that thought doesn't give you nightmares, but you should read the book anyway. We'll be back.
If you're taking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Men, women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has zero toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioAge.com. Spelled BIOAGE.com. BioAge.com. Or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. BioAge, the age of advanced organics.
And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16.
Elizabeth Lockerplan and Elizabeth reminds our listeners that the drug problem is well documented. We know our kids will be approached at early ages. We want to applaud the youngsters in our community who have had the strength to say no to drugs. They provide examples to their peers and families to be the best they can be. That's from Elizabeth Lockerplant, located at 366 Grand Street in Elizabeth, serving our area since 1943 and specializing in naturalized aged beef and pork and complete custom processing. Call 303-688-2240. That's 303-688-2240.
All right, guys, welcome back to Riell Truth. We are almost out of time. Let's make the 4 minutes we have left count. Item from the Daily Caller: President Donald Trump's tougher immigration enforcement has reduced the flow of people heading north across the U.S.-Mexico border, but it's had no effect on the amount of money heading in the opposite direction. In fact, Mexico is on pace to receive more remittances from abroad in 2017 than it ever has before, according to World Bank estimates released on Tuesday. Mexico, which takes in more remittances than any other Latin American country by a wide margin, will likely receive $30.5 billion from the Mexican diaspora living abroad, 6.5% more than it did in 2016. About 95% of Mexico's annual remittance haul comes from the U.S., according to Mexican bank BBVA Bancomer. Remittances to Mexico from the U.S. have been rising in recent years due to improved labor market conditions for immigrants in America and the falling cost of sending money abroad, says the World Bank-sponsored Global Knowledge Partnership on Migration and Development. In August, the unemployment rate for the foreign-born population in the U.S. was 4.2%, compared to 4.6% for native-born Americans. The tighter labor market may be contributing to higher wages for Hispanic immigrants, boosting the overall value of remittances they send home. Unquote. My friends, people laughed like crazy when Donald Trump said Mexico will pay for the wall. Okay, here we are. We stopped the flow of money from Mexicans in America to Mexico. We stop it exactly as long as it takes to pay for the wall. And then voila, we will have a nice new border on our southern side, and Mexico will have paid for it just as the president said. Item from the Daily Caller. Former First Lady Michelle Obama claims the Republican Party's lack of diversity makes Americans distrust the political system. During an onstage interview at the Pennsylvania Conference for Women on Tuesday, Obama shared why she thinks diversity is so important. Quote, "We should be working actively to mix it up, so we're getting a real broad range of perspectives on every issue. Shoot, I would see that in Congress. At the State of the Union address, when you're in a room where you can see is real dichotomy. It's a feeling of color almost," Obama said. On one side of the room is literally gray and white. Literally, that's the color palette on one side of the room. On the other side of the room, there are yellows and blues and whites and greens. Physically, there's a difference in color, in the tone. Because on one side, all men, all white, and the other side, some women, some people of color. I look at that and I go, no wonder we struggle. No wonder people don't trust politics. We're not even noticing what these rooms look like. Unquote. My friends, everyone knows Michelle Obama is a dummy. Everyone knows she runs her mouth and says stupid things. But here's a memo to Michelle, who I'm sure listens to the show. Identity politics is a mutant strain that has developed in the last several decades. Not what America is about. America is about people succeeding no matter their color, their gender, their religion. America should be colorblind. But just in time, here come the Democrats and the liberals playing divisive politics, identity politics, pigeonholing people by race, by sexual orientation, by age, by income, to divide and conquer. Well, Michelle, you and your husband have been divided, so to speak, from power. So do us the favor, recede into the background, and shut up. My friends, we're done. I'll be back on Monday with more Real Truth. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, stay angry. Hasta luego.